What's up, guys? We have Miss Katie Black here representing the Voices for Children Foundation. Awesome to have amazing people on our planet that are doing just the absolute most for the things that they're passionate about. Katie and I met at 10X GrowthCon, the last 10X GrowthCon that Grant Cardone's organization was putting on, and she was actually on stage. She was part of the philanthropy that they're doing at scale. So it's an absolute honor to have a chat with her and hopefully learn some things about a nonprofit space and leadership from you. So thank you so much, Katie.
Super happy to be here. I'm really grateful for this opportunity.
So tell me, philanthropy has this like weird undertone in society, right? They're like, how do you have the time? How do you even make money helping people? You know, do you just have a bleeding heart? Are you illogical, right? What was it? Has all of these connotations. So how'd you get started in all this stuff?
So I was really lucky. I had two incredible parents who were essentially community leaders who really led for our community. And I got to watch them lead in so many different ways. And so I used to go to court with my parents when I was a child because they worked in the court system, specifically juvenile court. And so I used to sit in the courtrooms and watch kids my age be removed from their home because of abuse, abandonment, or neglect. And I just kept thinking to myself, well, I would like to use my voice in that way. I'd like to help these kids. And through several things that had happened in my life, it just continued to go back to that I was supposed to be an advocate for children. I get almost like mama bearish with our children and being able to get them the things that they need, right? Dignity items, normalcy items, basic needs. And so I decided to kind of make it my life's work to help support and change laws for children. And now I get to do that in this seat as a CEO at Voices for Children. But I joke I'm a recovering lobbyist. And so for many years, I served in different capacity around policy and how do we change policy? How do we make policy better for kids and reducing barriers, things like that. So
what happened? The politics got you? You're like, you know what?
No, I still get to do it now. I just get to do it under this umbrella. So still last year we filed a bill and it didn't pass, but it takes a couple years sometimes in refining that bill, and look forward to helping to go back this year with a more strengthened bill.
Yeah, and obviously having that network in politics is super beneficial too, because you get some eyes on the stuff and you get some insight on what tone is, right?
Yeah.
So for the average listener, right, they don't know about all the problems that are going on in the world because only so many are shown on the news. So can you fill us in a little bit more in terms of what's happening at a systemic scale to these kids that we should be aware about as just normal citizens?
It'd be my pleasure, actually. So children are removed from the home because of abuse, abandonment, or neglect. Most of the time it is because and stems from substance abuse, mental health, and domestic violence. A lot of it is generational, right? And so we have made great strides in our country to reduce the number of kids in foster care, but we still have a lot of kids that have to be removed for their safety, right? They are placed in one of three placements: a group home, which just sounds just like that, a group of kids who live together, usually staff, that is shift care staff, so not one, house parent for the most part that's there all the time. A foster home, which is one consistent parent or parents that are there supporting the kids, and then they could be placed with a relative, a non-relative, a teacher, a neighbor, somebody who is willing to help keep the kids out of a group home or foster home while the parents are figuring out what's going on. So I think we have to have a little bit of empathy and understand that we can help and support this mother so she can be a really fantastic mother, but it's going to take us doing that now, right? Getting in that home. I think there need to be universal home visits for when parents first have babies. Like, it is hard. I had a child and I wish somebody came to my house and was like, you okay? Like, let me help you a little bit, right? And so we're expecting people to, be parents parents without really understanding how. And then, again, when you have mental health, you have substance abuse, domestic violence in the homes, it becomes really challenging.
What is the most effective teaching tool for human beings?
Play.
So yes, necessarily some sort of human interaction, or are you talking about video games or?
Well, I think no. I think again, we've lost that ability to just go out and play, on the street and play with a baby doll. And so when I say that, it's like if you're gonna learn how to, you should be really holding a baby doll. Like it might feel silly as a woman who's pregnant and your husband, but like you should be holding a baby doll, and we're gonna hold the baby doll like this, and we're gonna feed the baby doll like this, right? Because then you're really understanding when you get the baby that the baby's head shouldn't go like this, and you try to feed him on the side. These things seem very intuitive, but if kids aren't playing anymore and they're not playing house and they're not playing with the babies and they're not, right? How are they going to learn how to manipulate their own lives later on? And so I think it really is play, right? We need to have everybody, play house.
How large is this organization? Like,
so we are.
Where are you?
So we are part of a network that are not. We're all individual nonprofits that are across the country. Some of them are called Voices for Children. Others are called Speak Up for Kids. But we do essentially the same thing. We stand in the gap of foster care. Our Voices for Children is the oldest in Florida. We've been around for 40 years. We are a $6 million organization, and we have 12 very mighty staff who are all walking in their purpose and their passion. And they're crazy to work with me because I have a high sense of urgency and I have a million ideas every day of how we can help children and make things better. And I all want them done like tomorrow. So, they've learned how to just say, okay, it's on my list. But we do really great things. We serve 1,100 kids every single year in a variety of ways. We have a comfort closet. So when kids come into foster care, often they come in with just like a trash bag of their stuff. And so we give them a pillow. Like every child, I believe, should have their own pillow to lay their head on. And I don't want them to have the pillow from the 3 kids, that were there in that foster home before them. I want their own pillow, right? So that's a big thing, is that dignity and that thoughtfulness. We also help, as I said, relatives and non-relatives. We really try to supplement the lack of funds for those individuals because we strongly believe that is actually the answer to get kids and reduce kids in foster. So we do a lot of that. We do the experiential learning. We support kids who are aging out of foster care, who live in their own apartments. We actually tonight they have their first meeting of the year, and they're meeting around, how do you change your air filter in your apartment, and how do you make sure that you keep, the fan on when you're taking a shower, so that how do you clean out your lint traps? And so, things that our parents tried to teach us, whether we were listening or not, these are the things that we are teaching our kids. So I really look at it from birth to self-sufficiency.
Are you filming this? No, like seriously, because if you think about it, right? I'm in Ohio.
Yeah.
And you might know a little bit about Ohio. There's a lot of foster care in Ohio.
Yeah.
There's like and I have a fully Medicaid practice in Franklin, Ohio. So I see a lot of the people, and I actually employ a lot of the people that are coming in and out and around that, and I care about them deeply. So in general, how important is it to realize that you cannot do this alone, right?
Yeah.
You're saying you got 12, and is that including yourself?
Yeah. So I joined 4 years ago, and we had been going through a little bit of a transition. And there were 4 core staff when I started, and the rest were all advocates that were essentially lent out to another program that we really strongly believe in advocacy in the courtroom. And so they were doing advocacy in the courtroom. And for a lot of reasons, our state politics shifted, and we had to shift. And so we've taken it. So over the time, I have grown from our 4 core to 12 now, but we could, get another 12 employees. But again, it's funding, it's constant need, and it's a constant, we don't have a revenue generator, right? We're not a fee for service. Our kids don't pay for our services. And so every dollar is either fundraised or asked or written a grant around so that we can continue to make sure. And I love what you said. said you deeply care about these people. I only hire people who really, I feel like, have a purpose and passion to do this work, because you can teach a lot of other skills, but you can't teach that dedication. And our kids know. They know if you care about them or you're just saying that you care about them. And I, go above and beyond for our kids more than any other. And all of the other CEOs are like, how do you do all of this stuff and still mentor kids and still ensure that I'm in it, like deeply in the weeds? And it's because that's what brings me joy. So I can't not, last year we actually had a youth who aged out of foster care who came and lived with my family, and I helped her to get into college this year. And I just 3 weeks ago dropped her off in her dorms and did the whole thing as a mommy, the 2 Walmart runs and the Home Good runs and all the things, because she deserved that, right? And so they don't all have to take their work home with them. But what I've witnessed and what I've watched is they step in and are mentoring our youth in beautiful ways. And so I'm really grateful for our staff. I could not do it alone. I mean, I do a lot by myself, but our kids are too important to have anybody feel like they need to do it alone or get the glory for it, right? This is not about who can do what or how you do it or whatever. It is that you show up, that we are able to be that safety net every day. We celebrate a lot. We blow bubbles a lot. I have disco balls in my office because we have to have a lot of fun.
How do you hold yourself and how do you hold other people accountable, right? So I'm building these systems. I'm a young entrepreneur, young leader. And you have these intuitions about, I want to have Congo line. I want to have this going on. And then you implement it for the first time. People look at you crazy. And then you do it for the second time. People, So what is your thought process in that?
Be okay to be vulnerable. Be okay to laugh at yourself, right? Know you're going to make lots of mistakes. I make mistakes every day and my team knows it. And I admit that I made a mistake, right? And so it's okay. And they respect that more than me trying to pretend that I know it all. I know nothing. This is what I learned. As I get older, I realize I know nothing at all. My chief of staff, who joined me about 1.5 years ago, who I am so grateful that we get to be partners in this work together. She says that Ted Lasso is her, mentor, and that everything she learns about leadership, she learns from Ted Lasso. And if you watch Ted Lasso, he also creates a lot of that levity and the fun as he's teaching this team to get together and to build together. So actually 3 weeks ago, they all did literally build together. We moved 11 youth into apartments that we furnished their apartments for them, from glasses to couches to beds. And 11 apartments had to be, it was actually 13 apartments that had to be done in 1 week, because we learned on a Monday that they could move in. And so the IKEA ordering started and the Amazon ordering started. And then our staff spent 3 days building together, literally building. And those are the moments that they get to really understand that we're all in it together. One might not know how to use a hammer and the other might not be so comfortable with a screwdriver, but by the end everybody was able to do all of the part very well, and they became an oiled machine. And then they appreciated that person that was so willing to use the hammer when they weren't sure of it, and and so they appreciate the roles they played. I actually had a school. There's a school in Miami. It's called Jewish Leadership Academy, and they built tables. They're middle schoolers. As their first year project, when they came into the middle school, they bought IKEA tables. Now, I say IKEA is where good marriages go to die, because it is so challenging to get all of the stuff at IKEA and then put it together, right? And so these middle schoolers, I applauded this school. It was part of their give back to build these tables together. So these middle schoolers had to learn how to build together, right? And I realized in that is we lack, in my opinion, as a society, a collective responsibility anymore, right? My responsibility isn't for my neighbor, which it should be, or that neighbor over there, right? It's, I want a bigger house, I want to drive a nicer car because I want you to be envious of me, or I want you to, right? Whatever that is. But when you can get people building furniture together and working together in those ways, you start to learn there is a collective responsibility. And you need all of those, the person who's going to drill this and the person that's going to twist that, right? And so I love those lessons for both my staff and for those kids. So I would say I'm just, when things happen, happened, I'm like, okay, now I need another project where we can build something together, because other than this organization, which is what I always say, we are building a plane while it's flying.
Yeah, it's interesting because even in our education, if any of us have had the chance to have that in middle school or high school or whatever, how often is service really taught? How often is service really a requirement?
Yeah. And if it is, it's like 10 hours or something, it's like nothing.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And let alone the school itself doesn't even have partnerships, places that it believes.
Right.
So these kids are expected to go and find these opportunities that really don't have any backing whatsoever, or don't have this kind of united, like, oh, there's going to be generations of kids going through this, improving this entire system.
So I'm going to be very unpopular when I run for president. I'm going to be very unpopular because I am going to say that we need to serve our country. Every 18-year-old should serve in some way. You can choose a military branch. You can teach for America. You can do a city year. You can do a volunteer corps. In some way, everybody has to serve the country so that we can create that shared responsibility and understand that we have to work together, and we have that shared service-minded piece.
What is the thing that's actually working? Do you know what's changing in education, and who some of those advocates are on like
So I think that just specifically around dyslexia, I think it was something that nobody ever wanted to really acknowledge that it was a thing, and now actually in statute there is the word dyslexia, which it hadn't been for ever and ever and ever, and maybe less than 5 years ago in Florida, they finally acknowledged it as a disability. And so I think that we're starting to see people recognize the science of reading and what literacy intervention programs will do in early childhood, and the importance of early childhood and the investment in sending books to kids. There's a lot of beautiful programs where you can sign up, and I think that every child that is born should be signed up to receive books in the home, because even just being able to touch the book and play with the book and see the book, has shown. So I think that we are making strides. There is a reduction of kids in foster care. When in Miami, just for example, in 2000, let's call it, there were about 6,000 kids in foster care. There are now 1,000 kids. Some of that is system has really done a great job, and some of that is the prevention, is not removing the kid because teacher called and the kid's dirty. It's going to the home and seeing what's going on, and let me teach you how to not have your child removed. And then usually within 6 weeks of work with that family, they never have to remove the child again. Some of it is that the kids were just sitting there. There was no permanency. So now there are actual deadlines. You have to find permanency by X date, so kids should not be, if they're in care for 24 months and they're young, it's really bad. And we, look to make sure that they can either be reunited with their family or find a adoptive family, before 5. Because after kids get to about 7, 8, 9, it becomes much harder to find adoptive families for those kids. So oftentimes some of those kids will end up being the ones who languish in care and end up turning 18. So I think that those things are working that I see. I will be honest, we tried very hard to put my child in a traditional public school, both of my children, and it just was not something that worked well for them. Because I don't think that it is a one, it's like a one size fits all kind of model that we have. And I think that kids need to have individualized plans. So I think there's opportunity. So I don't know what's going but I don't know what's going on. But I will say, we just in Miami, I worked with our school board to put in a mentoring program for kids in foster care in that school. So if you go to one school, we are going to recruit a bunch of teachers that are going to be your mentor, and one person's going to be assigned to you to be like, hey, Sally, how you doing? Everything okay? I know, noticed you haven't been here for a while. You okay? Yeah, it was just wonderful,
What is next for you personally and for Voice Children Foundation coming?
So I'm excited. Voices is in collaboration with 10 organizations who want to do things differently and want to leverage all of our resources and our knowledge and our talents to serve kids in foster care differently. So we are embarking on a renovation of a 20,000 square foot building, which will have a therapeutic and health wing, a big comfort closet food insecurity and a pantry for food insecurity, a teaching kitchen. We're gonna have a big cafetorium, but also engagement space. So we'll have an AI room, and computer lab, music room. It'll have an art room. We will have on-site after school program for elementary, and on top of that we have visitation center. And so the idea is mom can come in the morning, she can have her drug treatment group, she can go to her therapy, she can do a visitation with her kids after school, and the kid then will stay and go to the after school program, while we're also helping to support the grandma who's currently having that child in their home so that they can get the support that they need. So we're all working together in that way. So it's very exciting. It's called the Dream Collective. It's by Metro Zoo in Miami-Dade County. So I think, Voices is like the fiscal agent, and we're kind of serving as the lead, but it really is, as I say, like a group project from science school, like, science project. We are birthing this together in hopes that this has its own sustainability and becomes its own nonprofit in Miami to serve kids differently. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm excited that we get to continue to travel with youth this year. We have some really exciting travel coming up, so that's exciting. For me personally, I don't know. God puts me where they want me, for sure, and in the right places. So we'll see. I do have it in my heart to lead and possibly to run for office at some point, and make sure that I can see the policies that I feel are going to most and have the most impact for our society. So we'll see when that comes and when that aligns for me, if it aligns.
You've certainly found a partner in Ohio.
Oh, yay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Much for all the work that you're doing. It's vastly understated. I think it's I think there's definitely a few that lift the burden for many, and I can see in your soul and just the tremendous passion that you speak with, and literally how you have formulated your entire personal life and professional life to go and support this. I just, from the bottom of my heart, I can't thank you enough for all the work that you've done. And you will get support from many people, let alone me. And I hope you do run for office. Honestly, I think it'd be. I hope you do it.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I have told my kids, I promise them that they can do anything, and that I will run for president, even if it's a write-in. So I'll let you know the year that we do all the write-ins. It will be a time when it's not so contentious, so that we really want your vote to count. But maybe it's will be aligned. But I appreciate you so greatly, and I am just honored and grateful for the opportunity to share about what I love, which is supporting these youth. They deserve so much of us, and they really are our orphans in our communities, right? And in the Bible, that is one of the protected that we really need to give back to, right, is those orphans. So I just urge everybody who's listening to find a way to support, and I thank you for this container that you have built to really lift up voices and get people involved and get people inspired to be involved.
If you have any ounce of philanthropy and you get connected with people like Katie Black, get connected with these organizations, and your life will transform every time you serve. So just do it to your heart's content. Do it until, I don't know, your breath gives out, whatever it is. Katie, we need to do this again. I have plenty of questions for you. I may have the outreach coordinator reach out to you and your awesome team, and let's get some awesome stuff going. I definitely have a spot for foster care in my heart here in Ohio, and I know that dentistry has a lot to do with mental health as well. So
100%, and confidence, right? And if you're in need of, it's your smile, right? And we want kids to be able to smile bright. So I love that, and that ability to maybe work together in ways to bring that to fruition.
We'll make it.
Yay! I look forward to it. See, it was very fortuitous that we met on our way into 10X, and I was like, wait, you're gonna see me on stage.
Yeah, and I did see you on. I said, hey, I'm gonna do a podcast. All right.
And here we are. So it's great.
Yeah, let's chat more. Thank you so much for your time, guys. Go ahead and check out this awesome organization. National bunch of them, specifically the one in Florida, and you said the one in Miami.
Yeah, so our website is actually, our website's beavoice.org, so beavoice.org, and I hope everybody can be a voice in some way, but that's how you can find us.
Bye, kid.
Bye.